My name is Iris Calloway. I manage the Vantara Private Collections Gallery on Mercer Street. I have run it for 14 years. We handle private acquisitions, estate consignments, and occasional curatorial consultation work for established collectors. My clients value discretion above most things, and I have kept their confidence accordingly. I want to tell you about something that happened in April. The young woman, her name is Calla, has been consulting for one of my larger clients for about a year. She is an economist by training, but has a secondary background in provenance research that makes her useful for certain types of acquisition work, particularly where historical documentation is involved. She is precise, methodical, and has a quality I find rare in people who work adjacent to money and power. She is exactly who she appears to be. She came in on a Tuesday in April to review documentation for a portfolio consignment. We had worked together a handful of times. She is the kind of colleague with whom professional conversation moves quickly. No performance, no posturing, just the work. We were in the back review room when a man came in. His name was Hartley. He had called ahead, as I require, and had described himself as a representative of a private investment group interested in consultation on a potential acquisition. This is standard language. I had taken the appointment. I will tell you what happened. Hartley came into the gallery, spoke briefly with my assistant, and then asked to be shown to the review room. My assistant brought him back. He saw Calla. He paused for a moment in the doorway with the quality of a man who has just seen something he did not expect and has decided very quickly what to do about it. He sat down. He placed a card on the table, a contact card for a company called Meridian Capital Consulting. He talked for approximately 8 minutes about a potential acquisition in a category that was entirely outside my gallery's area of practice. Then he said he understood that Calla worked with a particular client whose schedule and current acquisition interests would be valuable context for a transaction his group was considering. He said this in a way that was conversational and framed as a professional inquiry, the kind of framing that makes an unreasonable thing sound like a reasonable thing if you say it in the right register. He said, any information about current schedule availability or areas of active interest would be helpful context. He looked at Calla when he said it. I have run this gallery for 14 years. I have sat across from a great many people who wanted something they were willing to obtain indirectly. I recognized what Hartley wanted, and I recognized the particular quality of what I was watching. He was asking her to provide information about a man she was close to. He was asking in a professional context, using professional language, in a way that would allow her to convince herself it was a reasonable request. He was betting that the professional framing would make it easier to say yes. Calla looked at him for a moment. She said, I don't discuss my client's schedule or acquisition interests with third parties. Hartley said, this would be background context only. Nothing specific, she said. I don't discuss background context about my clients either. Hartley said, I understand there's a professional relationship to protect. I'm not asking for anything confidential, she said. Then I'm not sure what you're asking for. Hartley paused. He adjusted his approach. He said, I simply meant that if he happens to be in the market for a particular category, she said, if he's in the market for a particular category, he'll contact whoever he contacts through whatever channels he uses. I'm not a channel. It was very quiet and very direct, and there was nothing in it that conceded anything. Hartley said, of course, in a way that suggested he was recalibrating. He spent another few minutes on the purported acquisition inquiry, which I declined as outside my practice area. He left his card. He left. I went back to the review room. Calla was already reviewing the provenance file she had come in for. She had the specific quality of someone who has set something down and is not going to pick it back up. I said, I'm sorry about that. She said, it's fine. I said, you handled it cleanly. She said, it wasn't complicated. She finished her review of the documentation. She flagged 2 items for follow-up. She thanked me for the tea my assistant had left on the table. She left at 4:30. I want to say something about what I observed. Hartley's framing was designed to work on a particular kind of person, a person who is adjacent to power without being fully inside it, who might feel that loyalty is owed to institutional relationships rather than to the specific person, who might reason that background information is not really confidential information. It is a reasonable sounding approach. It has probably worked before. It did not work because she is not that kind of person. She has a professional relationship with this man, and she has, from what I have observed over the past year, something else as well. I am not a person who speculates about other people's private arrangements. What I can tell you is what I observed. A young woman who was asked to be a channel and declined to be a channel, in clear and specific language, without ceremony and without explaining herself beyond what was necessary. Hartley left his card on my table. I put it in the recycling. She was back 2 Tuesdays later for a follow-up review. She mentioned nothing about the Hartley visit. She reviewed the documentation, flagged 3 items, and left at 4:15. I have been doing this for 14 years. I know discretion when I see it. I know loyalty when I see it. They are not the same thing, and she demonstrated both in the same 4 minutes. He is, I think, in good hands.